Welcome into Believe in Commanders podcast. Scott Jackson and Anthony Armstrong with you here, part of the Believe Network, and we are brought to you by FanDuel. Anthony, a week after they found themselves, so we thought, they appear to be lost again. Commanders 31-0 beatdown at the hands of a Vikings team that was shut out last week. So the Vikings, the first team since 92 to be shut out one week and then pitch a shutout the following week. Doesn't happen often in the NFL, but here you go. This is Welcome to Commanders 2025 season, which has been a complete you-know-what show.
I did not know that statistic, and I was just sitting there thinking it was a skull-crushing defeat. Like that was bad. That was really bad. Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I've been on the side of a lot of bad ones, and to sit back and watch one. It was one of those ones that you start doing the chores around the house. You know what I mean, Scott? You start to work on other things. Let me go out here and pull these weeds right quick, man. It's December. It's like, yeah, but you know what? I need to clean up the flower beds right now because what's going on the television is really upsetting me. And it was a bad performance. And then obviously just things just kind of cascaded from there and it just got worse. It got worse, and my gosh, I'm glad the game was over. I was honestly surprised, Scott, how early the game had ended.
Yes,
obviously, I was like, it's still 7 minutes on the other three games. I'm like, what? Yes. I'm like, that's a lot of football left, but I'm like, do we play internationally? Like, what's going on right here? But I don't know.
Well, that's always my rule. If you're going to get destroyed, do it quickly. Get me into the post-game show and get me home early. So I did appreciate that aspect of this. Probably the highlight of the day from spending my time watching the Commanders yesterday and having to talk about it for 3 hours afterwards with Fred Smoot. But, I mean, it was annoying because, look, the opening drive, they took it right down the field. Not something Minnesota normally does. But, hey, this is what the Commanders defense does. They're the heater for whoever needs it, right? Like, the worst offense ever, and if you come play the Commanders, you're probably going to look like a real competent offense suddenly and a competent quarterback. But then, man, it was a good answer drive, right? Like they're moving it down the field. A lot of C-Rod, he's banging it. I mean, they're moving bodies. They're pushing the Vikings around. Jayden looked a little they got him in a comfort level. The big hit that he throws to McLaurin gets you excited about him coming back. You see him, go head first diving. He wasn't trying to take hits. He was being smart, and that was so good. Then you get to the first and goal at the 5. Rodriguez runs for about 2.5, 3 yards, somewhere like that. It gets you, 2nd and 2. You kind of get cute. You try to throw it to Brandon Coleman. Okay, doesn't work. At least you live for another play. Because, look, it's 4-down territory, man. You're riding a 7-game losing skid. You're not trying to do anything stupid like kick a field goal here. You're playing 4 down. So this is cool because I know on 3rd down, Anthony, if I'm going for it on 4th, I'm going to jam my physical running back in there one more time. No, actually, you didn't do that. And then 4th down comes, and of course, you have to throw it again, and it's a disaster. And that's what really burned me. Cliff Kingsbury, to me, he had such a crappy game. It was bad. He needed to help his quarterback. Didn't seem to have a lot of answers for some of the things the Vikings were doing early with the blitzing. And then just the fact that he, once again, fails to admit the team's identity is to run the football. It's just really frustrating. And, would have been a much more competitive game if you punched it into that first drive, I think. But maybe I'm crazy.
Man, it started out fine. I think that on Minnesota's side, good coaching, you're going to game plan your first 15 or 12 or however many to be things that you expect to see. And when it hits like that, it's kind of telling. It's one side of it is like, oh, crap, that's not good, because the other offense now has seen something in your defense over previous weeks, and they know how to get you in these scenarios. So that was frustrating seeing. I wanted to see the defense fight back and make some adjustments, but they didn't. And I find that really odd. It felt like a preseason approach, kind of like, hey, man, we're just going to throw you out there. Y'all go play ball, and then we'll see what happens. If you want to take a good positive off of the defensive performance, the one thing is that Justin Jefferson only had 2 catches. So you'll be a part of that history of keeping him on this lowly streak. But really anybody else did whatever they wanted on that defensive side, and that's frustrating. That's really, really upsetting. Now, on the offensive side, you talk about identity. I don't know why all of a sudden when the quarterback changes, now it's like it's a totally different offense. It's a completely different playbook. Like the mentality is different. I love the first drive because I thought that Cliff found a really good mix of run, of power formations, of spread, something that was going to keep under center. He found a way to keep the defense more on their heels, right? But after that first drive, and then kind of once they got down, it's like his mind changed to saying we got to score quick. And it's like, no, you don't have to score quick.
No, you don't. Yeah.
It's still going to be a 60-minute ball game regardless, right? Hell, you could have found a way to play a 14-14 game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So help your defense out by running the rock, slowing it down on offense. The mentality changing because the quarterback changing. I get it that, you know, Jayden is definitely a superior arm talent than Marcus. I got that. He's very talented. He's good with his legs. But the thing I've been throwing around right now, Scott, is that I want him to find 3 or 4 incompletions and take them away from being rushing attempts. Now, I'm talking about those times where you're trying to evade a rush, you're 15 yards back, you stiff arm a guy, and then you run up and then you get like -1. Like all of that, we didn't need that, right? No. Like if you don't have it, let's just dump it off, kill it. We'll save 5 seconds. Sure. The fans don't have to freak out because the defenders are coming to hit you. They are not going to take it easy. And if you give them a chance, they're going to do it. And they're ready for you to run. And then you kind of get to have the gamesmanship of, is he going to run now or is he going to throw it away? And if you're always thinking run, they're always going to have their head on you and they're going to be ready to take you out. So I just want to see him change his game that way. And it's going to have to happen in 2026, Scott.
Yeah. So the Commanders, you know, yesterday, it looked like they were protecting him, right? Like there wasn't any design runs or anything, like you said. But you're right. I mean, he also put himself in some situations where he's out there scrambling. And I'll be honest with you, and I felt this way since early in the season. He's not as fast this year, or teams are faster on him, one or the other, right? Like he's not running by anybody. He's getting caught from behind or on the side. Like last year, he was very elusive and was able to squeeze out of bounds a lot. He still does that from time to time, but not nearly as much this year. And again, you're probably right. They got eyes on him, right? And so they're coming downhill at him. And he just doesn't look comfortable. I mean, like take away, you know, even that first, after the first drive, he never looked comfortable prior to the hit that, you know, they decided, all right, we got scared here. We're spooked. We're taking him out. And by the way, Dan Quinn saying after the game, this is very telling. We felt like the game, just the way it was going, we just had to pull him. It was 17-0. It wasn't like 24-0. It was 17-0. And Dan Quinn basically said I could tell from looking at his team they didn't have it. I mean, that's really scary, right? Like after a week, he's telling them they've been found or whatever, and they found themselves. And then for him to decide, you know, 2.5 quarters into this game, they're completely lost again. And Mariota was awful. That was about as crappy as he's played, you know, since he's been here. I don't remember him playing that bad. He looked like a guy that didn't, you know, think he was going to play this week. And then, of course, when he puts the hospital ball on Ertz and Ertz gets, you know, a career-ending injury, I'm going to say I think he's done. I mean, at his age, that's not something you just bounce back from. I mean, it just totally changed Mariota's game after that. He couldn't shake that at all. And I understand that. I mean, I'm not dogging him for it because you could see it on the sidelines. Everybody was emotional. Everybody was a wreck after that play. It was sad.
Yeah. Really it's tough when you have injuries. I mean, and like I feel for everybody in that locker room. I feel for everybody in that building because I know that they're probably thinking like, golly, like what else? You know, what else is going to happen?
Right.
You just many times that they've made those throws and. You know, I didn't watch it live. I told you I had redirected my energy and had to go do something else. But yeah, it's just dejecting, man. And it is dejecting. And it's one of those things that, you know, you have to, the right approach is to just, hey, let's try to take a breath and then we'll finish this thing out. If it does mean pull starters. You know what I mean? I mean, the OGs, hey, sit them down. You know, if they want to keep running, let them get out there. But I would say you're just going to have to push a lot of young cats and just let them know what they're playing for. But it's just been a nasty cursed season. I do not like the little cloud that's been going over the top of the year. We need to fan it away. You know, do one of those touchdown celebrations and get that stuff up out of here because it's been funky, Scott. It's just like it's almost at first it's like within the division, you would joke, "Oh man, y'all got a couple injuries. Y'all are having some." Now I feel like people would be like, "Damn, bro, y'all good? Are you okay?" Like we may get some consolation.
Right.
We may have a Cowboys fan or a Giants fan check on their Commanders fans friend right now. That's how I feel is going on in the division.
Oh wow, it's gotten that desperate for the Commanders. They're getting love for or getting sympathy from the rest of the division. I don't know. The Giants are probably so excited to come back out of the bye to see this team. They got to be fired up. I mean, they're looking to end a long losing skid as well. I think they've lost 7 in a row. Commanders lost 8 in a row. Giants, by the way, on FanDuel right now, 2.5-point favorite. What does that tell you?
What?
2.5-point favorite right now for the Giants.
You
Yeah,
lying?
so that's kind of how things are going for the Commanders. But if you're the Giants though, and Jackson Dart, man, you're looking at that defense, you're like, there you go. We can make some plays in this game. We can finally get this offense humming, for a full game. And let's be honest. I mean, with the way they run or don't run, I mean, he's not going to probably have to be told all week, hey, be careful, and all this kind of thing. I mean, you actually have to be flying to the ball to hurt somebody. So I mean, you don't see a whole lot of it on the Commander side, and then. This is not a good Giants defense. Again, a defense you can run on. All the things we said about the Vikings that you could do, but the question is, will Kingsbury do it? And to me, these last several weeks, and it sounds like Daniels is fine and he's going to play the way Quinn was talking after the game. It was just precautionary. If you're going to put him back out there, I mean, to me, I need him and Kingsbury to show me something, together as a team. Or then I got to start questioning whether or not we get the right guy calling the plays, and developing this quarterback moving forward. And that's something I didn't think I'd be saying coming out of last year. But, man, It just – even when he's been healthy, he's never been right this year. And a lot of it was written off on, hey, they haven't had a lot of reps together because Terry held out, blah, 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 and there was other people injured. That's fine. And that's partially true. But he just doesn't look like a confident guy right now, right? He doesn't look like the same guy from last season. So that's tough. And again, maybe that's just the physical nature of what he's taken, Anthony, but that's what concerns me. And this OC's got to help him better than he did yesterday. That was terrible.
Yeah. And this is just, kind of just assuming, speculation. It's just, that's that second year. Like I say, everybody goes and says, that's a lot of tape. We have tape on you. And so they're coming into the game with the plan of that run. And, we know that he has a good arm. And people can anticipate based on what you've ran in the past, so they're going to be more willing to run tighter to some of those concepts. But this is where the marriage between the OC and the quarterback has to come into fruition and come into play, because the OC has to be able to call some other things to help open up what what you do well, right? The game is played differently over here. Like they're already knowing he's going to try to run. I've seen more people, they rush up so far, they get to the same level, then they already know he's going to squirt back up front, so they try to pin back and then double back and make those plays. It's happened time and time again. Now they have more athletic linebackers and safeties up there that are going to try to spy you. They know these things, so they're prepared for it. So, hey, call some other plays. I mean, I feel like there's just like a personal vendetta against Rodriguez, but run the rock. And if it got to get to the point where DQ is overriding some of the some of the calls, then do it.
Give me your play sheet and rip it in half.
Yeah, do it. You got to do what you got to do, man. But because I feel like in some parts, even as a receiver, you're like, oh, why aren't we running the ball? Right. You know what I mean? Because if I'm running a route and the DB's not backing up, that's because they know what we're doing. They don't respect your speed. But if they're not backing up, they know what you're doing. They know what you're running. And that means you got to do something else to help set stuff up. And that gets frustrating for the offense. So you got to make some changes, man. You got a couple weeks left. So I wanted to make something happen, Scott.
I would like to see something good happen. We're here, Believe in Commanders podcast. Scott Jackson, Anthony Armstrong, part of the Believe Network. We are brought to you by FanDuel. Again, Giants, a 2.5-point favorite as that line opens for the Week 15 matchup. So the other thing, you hit it, Rodriguez. Love the way he ran. I thought Bill ran well yesterday too when he got out on the field. Again, they could run the ball on that team. For some reason, I don't think Jeremy McNichols ever got a carry. And unfortunately for him, when he was out there as the third down back, he had to obviously help with pass pro because, man, good. Brian Flores, by the way, can we just take a second to talk about him? I don't know if it's possible for him to get another shot at head coaching because of this lawsuit against the NFL. But, man, I don't know. If I was an owner, I'd be like, you guys go stick it. I don't give a damn what this guy is doing to you guys. I'd want to talk to him. I'd want to bring him in. What happened in Miami or whatever. I could look past all that stuff because the way this guy's defense responds to him, and I think they've got good players, but do you think they have an exceptional talent on defense? I don't know, man. I think he just gets the best out of his people and puts them in the best positions every week.
And that's similar to what DQ was doing in the past. But I feel like that's what Flores was even down in Miami. He had some big name players, but then he was also able to get creative and find ways to put people in positions to be successful. Like he was very aggressive with the blitz, and I do have to say there was some pretty good reps from some of the Washington running backs going up in there and stepping in the hole and being willing to be willing barricades for their quarterbacks. So they did a pretty good job against the blitz, but there was just a lot more blitz than they were used to having to see. But yeah, Brian Flores, I would figure he'd find his way back to some of these coaching cycles, but you know how this game goes, man. It can be a little messy. But then also kind of with the way things are rolling, though, like not necessarily there, but could you see there being like a big three of, like a head coach, Gordon, DC, OC type of a vibe, kind of similar like what we have here, but we thought we had, but like, Flores could be a head coach, but he'll be like it's a really big defensive coordinator. You know what I mean? And then the offensive coordinator can kind of do his heavy lifting himself. What do you think? You think that'd be something out here in this league?
Maybe. I mean, maybe could. I don't know how they'll look past the lawsuit and all that and that kind of stuff. But look, he deserves a second chance. If you're telling me, and I'm reading these reports like everybody else, that Matt Nagy is going to get another chance. He doesn't even call the plays in Kansas City. He's been riding the Andy Reid coattails. He wasn't a good head coach the first time. I mean, give me a break. I mean, if you're telling me that guy's going to be in this cycle and Robert Saleh already in this cycle just off of hanging out with the 49ers for another season, I mean, give me a break. Brian Flores has done his penance in Minnesota long enough in the outback of the world and was in Pittsburgh for a year. I would be much more interested in him if I was one of these guys. But again, I don't have billions of dollars to own one of these teams, but that's just my feeling about it. And going back to coaching too for a second, and again, give Kevin O'Connell a lot of credit. Obviously, he was here briefly in Washington for a short period of time, and I don't think there was ever really a path for him to stay here with Rivera's staff. I don't think he wanted that, and I don't think Ron wanted it. It would have been a great thing if it would have happened. But anyway, how awesome of a job did he do yesterday with a quarterback that nobody had any expectations with in J.J. McCarthy, because he looked like crap the last few times we saw him. Sat out a few weeks, comes back, after missing, I should say, a week, comes back, and then, it's like a different guy. I mean, that was that's why people, there's certain guys who just have it, right? He's one of them. McVay, obviously Shanahan, LaFleur as well, just have that it factor with their quarterbacks, and McDaniel to some degree as well when he's got his people. I just can't say enough about him because I didn't think watching J.J. McCarthy this year he was going to be a winnable quarterback to play with, but he was winnable yesterday. And it wasn't amazing numbers, but he did some really good things.
Yeah, JJ looked good, right? He looked like what people wanted, what they wanted when they drafted him. And that's frustrating that Washington teams to be that team that people get back on track with. But, it comes, you get to see how the play caller helps that young quarterback get into positive situations. Hell, look in Chicago, right? Look in Chicago. They're doing a lot of things. Ben Johnson does a lot of things to help get Caleb Williams into positive situations, easier situations to throw the rock. They run the ball, right? So then they're able to open up the play action. So they do things to help out these young quarterbacks. It's like, I get it. You totally want them to be able to throw the ball around and have success doing those things. But hey, man, we got to think about the entirety of the offense because people are honed in on these things. So yeah, McCarthy looked good, man. He looked good. We got to see if he's going to keep that stuff up. He's got some tough opponents coming up down the line, but Kevin O'Connell's a good coach. He talks about young guys better.
Yeah, played to their strengths, kept the young guy protected by running the heck out of the football. That was working, right? Not asking him to do a lot. And that's all the Commanders should have been doing yesterday with Jayden. Like, let him run, and then, those plays will come to you. You'll be able to hit some of those big shots off the play action as you're running it well, but never got to that part of the sheet because then it was panic mode. We're back in shotgun, and, we're trying to, whistle it around the yard. Of course, before we know it, he's out of the game in the third quarter because of that interception and, getting knocked over. And, you could tell, by the way, he was never comfortable with that elbow all day. Like, did you notice that even early? Like, he was that wrist, that elbow sleeve, he was kind of tugging on it from time to time. I don't know what was going on with that.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like when they had the knee brace. It's just like you have to do it. And then when he had the knee brace on, he didn't look right, didn't feel well. And I mean, those things are cumbersome, right? That things are cumbersome. My question then is this. Going back, are you going to say I'd rather wait an extra week so I don't have to wear the brace? You know what I mean? Knee and elbow, right? Now maybe your whole system of how far you wait for, man, look, it's got to be without the brace. You know what I mean? It's got to be without the knee brace, right? And even some of those contact drills where you're using those as metrics of if a player is ready to get in the game, that stuff is very subjective because you're going up against an intern who has a pad, right? And maybe they put on a helmet so you can really lay into him, show him that you really want to stiff arm him. He ain't stiff arming this kid. He's moving out of the way. It's not a 250-pound linebacker that's angry. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's not somebody with ill intentions. So some of those drills are tough to. Yeah. Because they're talking about can you brace yourself when you fall? Literally fell on there, and then it hurt a lot. So
you don't know until you fall.
Yeah. So I want you. I would just say, hey, just take an extra week. Just take an extra week. But I want the man to get healthy, man. I want to be all the way healthy. Come back next season and be bulletproof.
I think about a couple of weeks ago, Aaron Rodgers was playing with that broken hand, right? He took his first hit. He looked like, oh my God. Like you said, they probably did all the testing all week and it's fine until you land on it and get hit. And here's Aaron Rodgers, who's played a million more football games than Jayden Daniels and has played through some stuff. He's a tough guy. And he had to leave for a little bit, right? And then get back before he could come back in. I mean, Mason Rudolph played a little bit because that really hurt him. But then eventually he got back on. I'm interested to see tonight with Justin Herbert too, is also playing with the offhand that's broken. How he handles it. We've seen Herbert play with broken ribs. I mean, he's kind of crazy, right? He's got a high pain threshold. And again, this is not a knock on Jayden, but maybe he's one of these guys that doesn't have as high a pain threshold as others. I mean, this is the way it goes. And he's going to have to figure out for him what he can deal with and play through, like you said, and what's not going to hinder him to playing the best to his ability. But I just thought they failed on the ability to protect him early in that game. Whether it's pass pro or obviously running the rock especially to get that red zone there. But let me ask you this: these final 3-4 weeks, I guess it's 4. I'm losing count. Final 3 games. The weeks. Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles. Okay, 4 games. That's 4, right? Okay. 4 division games. Like, what's your goal at this point? I know most fans are going to just lose all of them. We'll get the higher draft pick. No. But what is real? And as somebody who's been in that locker room and you're like staring at like, oh my God, we're terrible. And we still got a quarter of the season left. Like, what's going through your head? And how do you kind of just try to reset and really buy into that day-to-day, week-to-week thing? Where it all starts over.
I can tell you the main goal is to come out of this sucker healthy. All right, healthy. You don't want to have to add anybody else to any injury report. You need healthy players. I'm not even saying like I need people to come back and be healthy. I'm talking about the folks that are available.
Right.
I just want a healthy finish to the season, right? It's been a tough one. It's really been a tough one. And these guys, they've come together through the adversity, and they'll continue to do that. But yeah, man, just continue to see good effort, put good things on tape because everybody's being evaluated, right? Everybody's being evaluated. Right. You got to get back more to the Denver Broncos game and the Miami game type of effort rather than whatever happened last week. And mostly, man, it's just taking pride in it. I said it on another show. You got to take pride in the fact that you got your name on your back. All right. Whatever you're putting out there is like you got your name on your back, regardless of what the season is. They can cut. You don't want people to cut on the tape and they say over the last 4 weeks of the season, Armstrong quit. Jackson checked out on us. That's what you don't want to do. That's what you don't want to do. And I know I don't think that you're gonna have these guys. I still expect to see Jeremy Reeves flying around like a bat out of hell. I still expect to see Nick Bellore run around, diving into everybody on special teams. I still expect to see people putting out a strong ass effort. So, but anybody that's finds himself checking out, I wouldn't expect him to be around in 2026.
Well, yeah, and then it's your resume for other places, not just for Washington, who has got a million guys on 1-year deals. It's like, is your league future, on the line here too. So it'll be interesting. There's still a lot of questions, going into the offseason about what, and I still think evaluation is still important, right? With Debo and Terry as a combo, was that a good combo? Is it worth the investment in paying Debo more money? And obviously, how does Jayden, does he work with the both of them on the field, and even with Noah now back as well? So that's interesting to me. I know, again, the results are irrelevant at this point to most, but man, you gotta, just from a standpoint of, if you really want us all to buy in that, Dan Quinn is a culture guy, right? He's a good culture guy no matter what, even if he's having a bad season. We've heard this about him even in Atlanta. His team had good culture. Well, they sure as hell better show that in New Jersey next weekend, right? You can't go out and lay an egg against the Giants. Yeah. And I get it. Giants are coming off a bye week. They got a new interim DC, new interim, all that crap. And there's a lot of looseness about that. But still, I mean, this team better go in there and play and look like a pro team again. Like you said, more like the game against the Broncos and the Dolphins, because they lay another one like this, and people are going to start to say, well, maybe this isn't a good culture. Maybe this isn't the right guy for this, and you're only in year 2 of the cycle. And then it's really, just feeds into that, that negative mindset and kind of like, oh, here we go again. And then there's already, a lot of fans already there. I mean, a lot of fans already there, Anthony, as you know, because there's been more seasons like this one than last year over the last 25 years.
That is true, but I think you're a little early to that one, right? And I've said it, this is a 3 to 5 year thing. Last year, you find out how good it could be. Now we're just having a wound, and then they dug a daggum knife into it and twisted it with the extra injuries on top. So it's just, I will say this. Be thankful that we have the injury bug, because if this was your day one starting roster and we were sitting at 3-9, I'd be like, tear it all up, start from scratch. If that would be my play, Scott.
I got bad news. Actually, 3-10.
Oh shit. Oh,
they're actually 3-10 now. Yeah. You blocked that out of your mind. Like I said yesterday, I felt like I blacked out in the third quarter from the game. Like I just got into just malaise. It was like one of these traumatic experiences you're just seeing in front of you, and you want to forget about it. It was so terrible.
It's even worse.
Well, we'll get back this week. We'll talk about what's important. Yeah. All right, we'll get back later this week. We'll see what's important for the Giants game. Talk a little Hard Knocks, too, later this week, too. We might dive into that a little bit more with the NFC East being part of it. But, again, second meeting with the Giants later this week. A little Hard Knocks discussion probably as well. All right, for Anthony Armstrong, I'm Scott Jackson. We're part of the Believe Network. You can, of course, find us wherever you find your better podcast. Please follow, and comment. And, of course, thanks to our friends at FanDuel. We'll see you next time.